Throughout the 2020s decade, the Buffalo Bills have experienced a good amount of achievements when it comes to having a pretty good team year after year, led by an MVP quarterback and some good rosters. But despite that, in the postseason, they constantly fall short year after year. In 2020, they got blown out by the Chiefs. In 2021, they lost to the Chiefs again in a 13-second collapse, and basically a coin flip screwed them over. In 2022, they got absolutely demolished by the Cincinnati Bengals. In 2023, they lost once again to Kansas City, this time at home thanks to a Tyler Bass field goal. Flashbacks of wide right in 1990. In 2024, they lost to Kansas City back in Arrowhead thanks to some controversial calls. And then this past year, they fell short to the Denver Broncos of all teams, marking basically the sixth year in a row that they bow out in the playoffs in heartbreaking fashion. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't wish all that pain on my worst enemy, to be honest. But how exactly did we get here? Because it's not common that you have such a good team, such a good quarterback, yet you can't even make it to the dance one time. Well, my friends, I have three reasons as to why I believe the Bills haven't been able to get over the hump, and it is a combination of luck, faults in coaching with McDermott, and overall their players underachieving. And the first one I want to tackle was the NFL gods basically hating the Buffalo Bills, because when I talk about luck in the NFL, I basically mean injuries / ref calls screwing them over. Despite what some people may think, the Bills have actually had some really good rosters, which injuries have basically derailed them. In 2021, Tre'Davious White tore his ACL, which kind of derailed that number one pass defense that the Bills had. When you look at how good Mahomes did, he absolutely demolished that Bills defense. I feel like White would have helped out a little bit. In 2022, Von Miller tore his ACL, and I don't know, maybe they would have still lost to the Bengals, but you look at how good they did on offense that day. I feel like a player like Von Miller, this elite pass rusher that could get to a weak line like the Bengals and sack Joe Burrow, for me, he would have helped. In 2023, Matt Milano ended up getting hurt. And again, you look at how good the Chiefs were on offense that day. Matt Milano definitely would have helped. And this past year, Ed Oliver missed basically the entire year, only played like 3 games. And I think his absence was a big reason as to why the Bills' run defense was so poor and why Bo Nix was able to have such a good game against the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. And when it comes to the ref calls, this is more of a minor issue, but there have been some calls that have kind of screwed over the Bills. Whether it's that controversial play call, or that controversial call where they ruled the Brandon Cook / McMillan grab an interception, and mostly last season in 2024 when you had this being ruled somehow a catch from Xavier Worthy, and then the first line controversy where it feels like all the 50-50 calls went in Kansas City's direction. If I was a Bills fan, I would be kind of frustrated like this, even if some of the calls ultimately were correct. The second reason as to why they haven't been able to get over the hump is Sean McDermott himself. I think he's a good coach and maybe didn't deserve to get fired, but he does bear some blame in this. The NFL has a ton of clutch moments. The game gets nip and tuck every once in a while, and it is up to the coach and the players, but mostly the coach, in my opinion, to rally the troops, get them in a fixed mentality to be able to win all these close games. And even though throughout all these years the Bills have made the playoffs year after year, it feels like they always fall on the short end of the stick when it comes to these close game situations. Sean McDermott bears a lot of responsibility, collapsing in 13 seconds in 2021, faking a punt for no reason in 2023, being ultra aggressive in 2024, going for it on 4th down 6 times against Kansas City. Then mostly on Joe Brady on this one, calling a wide receiver screen on 3rd and 10 with your season on the line, and then having your team so undisciplined that they commit 2 DPI penalties on the game-losing drive against the Broncos. It's the little stuff like that wins and loses you playoff games, and Sean McDermott has just not really prepared his team to be able to do this, because you'd think that after the 5th playoff loss, they'd finally be a little bit more disciplined. Joe Brady also deserves some blame for this when it comes to his play calling and his game management. I don't really know how he's going to do as the full-time head coach, but if he's anything like McDermott, it feels like they're just going to keep doing all these mistakes. And my third and final point about the Bills is overall their players just in the end not being good enough. Look, I love Josh Allen, and I do believe that he is not mostly at fault for this. He has put up some incredible playoff performances, but there have been some times in which he himself has come up small in all these big moments. In 2022 against Cincinnati, he did not play well at all. In 2023 against the Chiefs, he wasn't really all that great, even if it wasn't like primarily his fault. And then this past year, even though I think he overall played well, those 4 turnovers were an absolute backbreaker for the Buffalo Bills. And overall, I think Josh Allen does have to take the majority of the blame for that one. But what about the guys that are supposed to help Josh Allen, his skill position players? Well, you have James Cook this past year, who ended up fumbling a ball that could have really helped them against the Broncos. Or what about the guy who supposedly made Josh Allen? Josh Allen had a masterclass in 2021, and Stephon Diggs repaid him the favor by having 3 catches for 7 yards. Or against Cincinnati, when Diggs had 4 catches for 35 yards. Or what about in 2023, when he dropped an absolute dime from Josh Allen that would have changed the game? Or what about going over to another guy, Dalton Kincaid, dropping a pass in 2024? Or Brandon Cooks not being able to hold onto a ball and it turning into an interception? Like, all these receivers, it feels like, have just kind of let Josh Allen down, on top of Josh Allen also having some bad moments every now and then. And then we get to the Bills defense. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on that useless Swiss cheese looking defense. Let's just go over their playoff losses. The Bills defense, over the last 6 losses that they had in the postseason, they have allowed 38, 42, 27, 27 again, 32, and 33 points. That is an absolutely unacceptable set of results. It doesn't matter how good Josh Allen plays. If your defense turns into barbecue chicken every single time when it comes to a big playoff game, again, it doesn't matter if Josh Allen throws for 500 or 100 yards, you're consistently going to come up small. And like, it just really sucks for the Bills, because either their offense falls short or their defense falls short, or it's just a combination of both. And these 3 factors, whether it's in the Bills' control or out of the Bills' control, it just overall shows a lot of cracks in the foundation of the Buffalo franchise. This front office has basically set themselves up to have a culture of losing, just being so anti-clutch. You have guys, the front office promotes idiots like Brandon Beane, who has overall done a terrible job with this roster over the last year or so, drafting a bust like Keon Coleman, not helping Josh Allen at all in the receiver front, not really bolstering the defense despite being a clear flaw of all their failures. Like, and people will go and say that, oh, this was the Bills' biggest missed opportunity because there was no Mahomes, no Lamar, or no Burrow. But in reality, if you actually dig deep and have a closer look, this was by far the worst Bills team that was in the postseason since around 2020. If James Cook or Josh Allen weren't having MVP level performances, they were getting absolutely demolished because their offense outside of those two wasn't doing anything and their defense was getting gashed. Look, I am rooting for Josh Allen. He is one of my favorite players, maybe my favorite player in the NFL, and I hope that he one day gets over the hump and wins the Super Bowl title so he can define his legacy as an actual winning player. But unless they make some changes or Josh Allen has the greatest carry job in NFL history, the Bills will forever be the poster boy of NFL failure throughout NFL history. And that, my friends, is my video on the Buffalo Bills. If you guys enjoy this, please subscribe and please like, as any support is truly appreciated, and also so you keep up with any more uploads throughout the offseason. And I will see you guys in the next one.